Hello, everybody. Once again, I'm Liam Crafton Jr., aka Zorvalchon Less Than Guru, and for today's tip, house rule that I would encourage you to think about for your Palladium First Edition game and maybe other Palladium games is a condition that I introduced called awkward. There are times in the game that I don't necessarily want to say yes, and I don't want to necessarily say no, but I'm not sure, is this something that should take a full action? Should it be just free? And so I determined there's a category of things that I could use to call awkward. And now things that I've talked about in my conditions of off, I only allow one of those conditions, off conditions, to be in effect at the same time. With awkward, this is something that you can add to that. You can add to wounded. So if somebody is off, they are awkward and they are wounded, all of those penalties would apply. But in this video, I want to explain how I use awkward and why I came up with this. So there's a lot of times a player might want to do something that isn't quite covered by the rules. And you, as a game master, are going to have to come up with a ruling, yes, no, or a, hey, here's a compromise. And one of those very common ones, I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do it, and that is switching weapons in the middle of a melee. So at the beginning of every melee round, a personal house rule that I have is I always allow people to swap out to choose their stance, and check out my stance video. But if they're going to go to range stance, I just let them switch out to a ranged weapon. If they're going to go to hand-to-hand stance, I'm going to let them switch out free to a hand-to-hand weapon. But what happens in the middle of a round where they decide that they want to switch weapons? And there's an old house rule, I think. Maybe it was a real rule in D&D, but I remember being introduced to it, is if you drop a weapon, you can draw an attack and not worry. If you wish to sheath it or put it away, string the bow up on your back, etc., draw the new weapon, then it would take an attack. And that's what I kind of started with, but I thought maybe I could compromise and not have it be free, nor have it take an action. It's awkward. You're doing a little bit differently. You're not already have your weapon ready, but you're getting it out. And I figured a -2 penalty to your strike, parry, and dodge would be fine, because maybe you have your bow, you want to switch out in a parry. Normally, I don't know, do you allow that? Do you not? Hey, awkward, switch it out if you want. You're going to be at a -2. Because you're seeing that blow coming, and we're talking a minute here. So in that, it's not like every action. You don't only attack once in a minute. Grab a broomstick, swing it a couple of times. You'll realize you can swing it a lot more than that. What I always say is, in that minute, these are the attacks and defenses that mean something. Those are the ones that you roll for. There's a little kind of face off between each other, a little poke here and there, a little batting it away here and there. In that minute, these are the attacks that have consequences, whether for good or for ill. And with the awkward, they could be preparing. They could be ready. If you're going to parry, maybe you want to get that shield off your back if you are carrying your bow, or you just hadn't had time to remove it, and have that negative penalty. I'd also allow it for D 100th the percentile for the skill rolls as a -10, because -2, each pip on a D20 is a 5%, so a -10 for that. And these are situations I would do for the switching weapons, for drawing in a weapon and attack, for doing things like climbing up a ladder or a rope, and you successfully do that fine, and then you get to the top, and the opponent's right there, so you want to attack. So the movement, you might have that movement, no problem, but just the getting up there, not being hit, all of that is going to create an awkward condition. It also works well when a character has the strength to carry stuff, but the stuff that they're carrying is awkward. Again, I really like terms that have meaning, that you could just say, oh, this is an awkward type of thing, so let's use the awkward condition. Say that a troll has a chest. The party found a treasure chest. They don't want to destroy it, but it's locked and they need to get it somewhere. The troll's big. He can carry it under his arm, kind of like a big football or something. But it's going to cause them to be a little awkward in fight. So I just say, hey, while you're carrying this, you're going to be awkward. Or another, maybe picks up one of the other player characters to get through something. Or the people who like carrying hundreds of weapons. And they're like, yeah, I got 3 halberds strapped to my back. I can carry that weight. Well, the halberds are really tall, especially if you're in an enclosed area. There's a ceiling and stuff. And if you don't want to just say no, but you realize that that's going to cause a penalty, you just say awkward. Everybody knows what it means. In my VTT, I have a button that they can hit, and then it automatically applies to any of their actions, whether it's a skill or an attack, a parry, a dodge, etc. So that's just something that I would highly suggest that you think about using in those situations where it's not covered by the rules. You don't want to say no, but you think that it has some detriment. But it's not just this time I'll say it's a -2, next time I'll say it's a -3, next time I'll say it's a -1, then I'll say, oh, you can drop it. Just have one type of condition that's readily known and you can give. So having said that, once again, I'm Lehman Crafton Jr., aka Zorvaltron Less Than Guru, and until next time, I will catch you later.